So welcome back, everyone. I think we all will appreciate one thing I know will result from this unique gathering is that the digital age and the equality and access to quality digital as well as IT equipment has to be the first priority. And Janice, you'll be happy to learn I've just made contact with Carl Whitehill at Avanti, and I've challenged in a very significantly firm way that whilst they haven't witnessed this, that will be the one takeaway from today, because it's been a significant, interesting challenge to me just trying to get an indication of who logged out, who logged back in, who needed to get back into their respective rooms to contribute. But this is the age we're in now. We have a term, interactively active and actively interactive. And that is what we will have achieved, hopefully, as a result of today's workshop. I want to try and capture what I'm sure will be the very positive contributions that were made. You all had the action learning scenario. I know that I was in group one. I managed to dip out into one other group, Peter's group, but then had to go back because I felt I should not be so nosy and leave it all to your respective leadership contributions. But success, you were the scribe for group one. If we have everyone back, I'd like you to feed back to the main workshop group what you discussed, how you feel in planning, delivery, and the tools that were presented to you, you might be able to take them forward.
Okay. So do I have the floor now?
You have the floor. You have 5 minutes.
Okay, I'll be very, very quick. Thank you, Dr. Geoff. And I want to especially salute Peter Raymond. He's been my coach on how to use the U2Is. We've been working on that. We're going to finish, but I'll come back to that. And Kishan, thank you for setting up. We appreciate this conference. We are glad. So in our breakout, we have Mr. David, we have SC, and we have Mata. And then we have our leader, Joe, helping us to straighten the thoughts and put it right. So we commend all of you. And so the thoughts we put together is looking at the planning and preparation. We agree that we already have a scenario, which is this problem statement. That is, we have 90 million out of school children in sub-Saharan Africa. That is a huge challenge. So I think a need analysis have been done. That is the first step in implementing. So we've already identified the problem. So going further, we are looking at what could be responsible. What are the major challenges, the causes? So we were able to enlist some other things, like we talked about poverty, the lack of funding. We talk about early marriage. We talk about the gap between the administrator, the educator, and the implementers of the educational policies as part of the challenges that could possibly have led to the out-of-school children we face across the sub-Saharan Africa. That is the aspect of the looking at the challenges and assessing the problems. So we also believe that after identifying those problems, we have to come up with an innovative solution that could address this problem head-on. And one of the solutions we came up with was actually from a life experience that we are all implementing at our different countries here in Nigeria and in Uganda. One of the solutions is that we can actually address the early marriage, which is a cultural could be a cultural factor, through engaging on the psychosocial engagement that involve dance, drama, and music in passing on the message to the people and involving the community. Then we also talked about, bridging the gap, bringing in more NGOs that are into education to bridge the gap between the government people, that is the administrator, and then the educators who are involved, because there's a big gap between the policy and the implementation. So NGOs who have, who share the same value can actually come in to bridge the gap. So that's the solution we talked about. So we also talked about addressing the issue of, foundational education for teenage students who could not read and write, and as well providing after-school hour engagement to encourage them to bring up to speed by teaching them how to read and write. So that will encourage them to stay back in school instead of, discouraging them, for dropping out of school. So that's another way we can arrest that. The fourth solution we're coming up is the Junior Golf Championship for promoting peace and also to raise resources to fund a back-to-school project. So this program, this golf championship was actually launched by us in Nigeria last year, and we did it, and it was fantastic. We have over 120 kids from across Nigeria states, and then it was an avenue to create, an informal kind of education for children to come together and make peace, because as at that time, election was very close and the country was tensed. There was so much violence. So it was an avenue to bring people, in the army, because we have to collaborate with the Nigerian army to do that. And then we brought a lot of kids together. They were exposed to golf, and then they have access to it. Then we debunked the idea of, looking at, golf championship as elite game. Rather, it could be accessible by everybody. So they actually have the fund, and then we were able to raise some funds, which gained us about 80-something kids back to school as at last session in Kaduna, in Sokoto, and in Bauchi. So these are some of the few solutions that we've come up with to address the issue of the out-of-school problems that we're facing in Sub-Saharan Africa. So if I'm missing out anything, I know my group members should be able to share one or two, a few things. Those are some things I've written down, we've discussed about. Thank you so much, Dr. Chow.
Thank you, Success. David, Elsie. We have just about another very quick minute. Is there anything that you might want to add? Elsie, I know you had a number of connection challenges, but if we can hear you, if you could like to say anything, or David, then we can get team feedback. Elsie?
Yeah, yes, hello?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so with the activities for the kids that I have a little much thought about it, because I'm into art and stuff. So
Elsie, we're not hearing you too well, and I think that you're having the same challenges, but we picked up what you had shared with us in the breakout. It was only for any additional comments that would supplement Success's feedback. David, has Success adequately represented contributions made?
Yes, I think Success has done it well. He has put all what we discussed. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Always keep an indication and understanding of time being your friend and your enemy. We're now going to move on to group 2, please.
So we could go either way, Janice, Peter, myself.
I group 1 was what I was party to. Is there a group 2? Is there a group 3? There were 4, were there not? So
we had 4 groups. So as I'm unmuted, I'll go and get my group to represent.
Okay, please.
So I had lovely Imana, Iname, and we were joined very late by Rennie. But guys, do you want to take away what we discussed in our group?
So who's going to scribe, represent, and articulate, Kishan?
So we had Imana, who...
Imana, it's you.
Mama.
Sorry.
Nama.
It's okay. Hi, Jeff. Thank you so much for putting us in breakout rooms. It was very helpful. And I'm really glad to tell you that we were actually discussing the idea of the work I do. And then I had in my group, I had Inam and Renee. So now after discussing about the work we do back in our countries, we try to collaborate and think about what a new project we can work on. So we decided to work on to create a project where we can provide Pakistani and Jordanian females who have married to the foreigners, because they in Jordan, it's a very big struggle. As Inam mentioned, that they were going through a lot of vulnerabilities, and a lot of there are many times they're not able to get their rights. They're not even sometimes able to use their father name or the mother name if they're married to like any foreigner. So it's a huge struggle, and because of this struggle, the kids are facing a lot of hopeless things, and they're thinking like they're less of others, and they're not getting enough rights in the society. So we have talked about the gap, and the gap which they have from the other children's. And the other thing, we talked about the experience and the challenges they face in Jordan and in Pakistan if they have been married to any foreigner. And we have talked about to help them and support them about to help them to have a freedom, to feel free and feel respectful. And we have talked about how we can help them to access their rights, and the most importantly, we talk how our project will actually function. So we will initially we thought about that we will function online, where we can hear a lot of where we can hear the stories of the parents and the children's, what they're really going through. And because it's very important to know what they really need. And after knowing what they really need, we have talked about providing sports, leadership, and cultural exchange program for such people, so that they can feel free, and they can have a very vast experience and exposure about different first of all about the country culture, different cultural difference in Pakistan and Jordan, and then the difference in the life changing. And then we have thought about, because of this all, the kids in our countries are facing a lot of struggle. They are not getting enough rights, and they're not feeling they're feeling vulnerable. They're not feeling that they have some confidence or something like this, because they're not being treated properly or equally like other kids. So we have talked about providing them life coaching programs, as Inam is a life coach, and we have talked about think about like creating a life coaching program. And there we had some questions which we have gone through, that how we will actually plan, who will actually will be beneficial from this, all the parents and the kids and the young girls who will be beneficial from this. So this is what we talked about, and how we can help them, how our program will actually work online and offline, what works we will do to record the evidence of what we did, some short survey, creating a report, and after providing a platform. After a platform, we talked about we will create an evaluation form, which will help us to have a better idea from what they have experienced in our program as a children, as parent, and what they want us to improve. So this is what we talked about.
Many thanks. I think all that you made reference to, especially the platform, offline, online, the ability to life coach, as well as provide a consolidated and evidence-based approach, should see us move nicely into the next segment of this workshop. And I'd like to get the last two contributions made, please, to the breakout rooms. So Janice or Peter?
I'm happy to go next.
Yeah, thank you.
So Jackie, are you happy to speak about what your group are doing? You have a big smile on your face. Of course you are.
Yes. Okay. According to our group, we mainly focused on two things, and that is sports and music. And as you know, young people, youths, and even everyone likes the things of entertainment. So they be like calling up their souls and be like, I want to go to this place, I want to go to this place because there's something entertaining. Under sports, we looked at the types of sports, and according to us, we looked mostly at football and netball, whereby football is for the boys and netball for the girls. And it can be in the same scenario that even girls can go to football and boys can go to netball, because there are those boys who are having that desire of going to the net in the netball part. And we looked at the time, how are we going to be organizing those things? We saw that it could be daily or it could be twice a week, but we looked at it could be twice a week. But more especially, we looked at daily. Why? We see that a day, most especially around 3 in our country, that is the evening parts, we see that most of the young children and most of the youths tend to be doing nothing by that time, because they finish attending their parents' work, some finish attending chores, even some come back from school as early as possible. So by that time, to where it goes to night, they tend to be idle. So we programmed that from 3 to 4, they could be having football, so that after having football, they can go back home, take a shower, eat supper, and then go to do schoolwork. And for the sake of netball, most times we see that if the boys are in their field of football, girls tend to be idle. So we saw that this time of football can be suitable for the time of netball. So as the girls are having football, the boys could be, as the boys are having football, the girls could be having again netball. And it can be both. You can decide those who are interested in netball, when they are boys, they can join the girls in their trainings, and also the girls who are interested in football, they can join the boys in their trainings. And we saw that all this can't happen when we don't organize well, and to see who will be handling those children, who will be handling those people who are going to be in those sectors. We saw that we need to be having the coaches and the trainers, so that in each sector of the music and the sports, there will be people who are going to be handling those people. Shakira also wants to say something about music.
More than welcome, Shakira. You have a minute and a half.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you so much. Jack has talked about football like on a daily basis. She's especially talking about this school, because at Hope for Youth, that's what we always do with the children. But according to music, we have only one day, that is a Saturday, a weekend, one of the days. So on Saturday, we come at around 2, we start our music, and this music can be creative, that is singing and drumming, and it can also be cultural, and it is more in music and in drumming, also, and singing, dancing. So why are we bringing all these? Children enjoy music so much, and they learn a lot in music. That's why when you're teaching young children in a form of songs, they learn a lot. So we educate these children when we teach them how to sing and dance, especially those cultural dances and the music. So we talk about safeguarding children, especially in sports. In our country, we have this thing of bullying. It is too much. For example, I can be good in football.
30 seconds.
Yes, dear.
30 seconds.
Okay. This thing is also, okay, in the conclusion, all these are beneficial to the community and us.
Thank you. By the way, your presentation skills are equally part of the workshop and social coach leadership experience.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We've got a final feedback from Peter, your group. My memory hopefully serves me right.
Yes, so I had a group of Hope for Youth, a group of 4 who were face to face working together, and then we had a couple. We had Kofi and we had Millard drop in during the session, but it was more Hope to Youth were working together, and we tried to include Millard and Kofi as much as we could. So I think it's Winnie from Hope for Youth is going to be presenting. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll hand over to you.
5 minutes, begin. Let's go. Who's presenting, Peter?
Winnie.
Winnie. Okay, Winnie, the floor is yours. Digitally, floor is yours.
Yeah, this is our plan together with my group. We started with seeing people who are to be involved. We talked of children, teachers, and parents. So of course, for any activity to take place, you have to consider the participants. So that is the category we looked at first. So how do we engage these people? You have to invite them, have a talk about what you are planning to do. So you also have to listen to their views. What are their reactions about this? So you consider all those before you come up with a final plan. So we also looked at time. We've got events like, for example, the schools in Uganda, every 3rd term, we organize speech days. And that's when we present all the issues to do with MDD, music, dance, and drama. And when we look at the side of sports, we've got tournaments. The school can decide and be like, 1st term is going to be for sports. So the school will organize and will take it like a month. Others can use 3 weeks. So the issue of time is also put under consideration when planning. What to engage in? We looked at football. It is 2-sided for the girls and for the boys. Netball. In Africa, it is more to the girls, but also boys can take part to those who are talented. Volleyball, MDD, writing and reading, athletics. All those we can get engaged in. Where to deliver? We've looked at areas where we can do our sports and our MDD. For example, at Hope for Youth, whenever we organize MDD, we can be like, are we going to use the playground or the main hall? Because by God's grace, we got a big main hall. So like last year, we used our main hall and we are able to do all our presentations there. And for the case of sports, we use the playground. Considerations. Of course, for any activity, you have to look at the age of the participants. You can't put a girl of 8 years to a girl of 18 years. Of course, during the course of playing, this 18 years girl can hurt the little girl. You have to consider the ages. You look at the abilities. Some people have got disabilities. So you also have to consider those abilities. Is this person able to be active in this particular activity? If she or he is not able, find a particular activity where that person can exhibit all his abilities or her abilities to fit in that particular activity. Another thing is the equipment to be used. You have to organize the aid kits in case of an accident. You have to organize, for example, in case of an organization and
the place which you're going to use is enclosed, you have to look at the fire extinguishers in case of fire. What do you do? So you consider all those things. The issue of
30 seconds.
who's going to deliver the activities, who's going to be in charge. I personally am an assistant coach. I'm taking up that course, though I've not yet completed. So you're going to organize the assistant coaches, and if you're blessed and you have the coaches who are fully fit for that position, that is a very great opportunity. So you have to be with the coaches in place. You have to be with the teachers because they can also help in the guidance session. You have to have parents. For example, we've got these issues whereby a child can come from home and the parents didn't allow him or her. So for all those things, you have to engage in the parents such that they are also informed.
30 seconds.
Is the children themselves.
30 seconds, Winnie.
That.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there because the themes are becoming quite consistent between the respective groups. And I'm also mindful that we're going to try and conclude this workshop. As is always the case, we were always going to run over.